Hello everyone and welcome to our Facebook Live event. My name is Marjorie Gerhardt and I'm a lecturer in French history at the University of Reading. I'm also the admissions tutor and I'm here with Dr. Don McKean, who is the Programme Director for our Comparative Literature programme. So tonight we're going to talk to you a little bit about what it's like to study comparative literature and a modern language at the University of Reading. So we have thought of a few questions which we think could be quite helpful, but if you have any questions, please feel free to comment and we'll try to answer the questions as we go along. So John, why should I study comparative literature in today's world? What's the point? How relevant is it?
Well, I especially recommend it for you, Marjorie. I think it's something that's more and more relevant in today's world. We're coming up against all of these kind of quite ugly nationalist movements, and I think the idea of doing comparative literature is to say that there is something about studying literature that is inherently cosmopolitan. Okay, so that when you're studying a novel, you could be studying an English language one, but you could just as well be doing one that's written in a different language, in German, for instance, or from a completely different cultural tradition altogether.
Okay. And what kind of modules would I be studying then? What does it look like to be studying comparative literature?
Yeah, so we've designed the course precisely with the variety I've just mentioned in mind. In the first year, you'll do 2 core modules, one of which is an introduction to comparative literature. So we're aware that maybe it doesn't figure on the A level, so people need to have a little bit of introduction. So that's one. Another one is about reading in translation. So a lot of the text will be translated into English, and then you're using that version. So it's about what to look for, what gets lost in translation, what actually gets found in translation. Sometimes translations are better than the original. Then in second year, you go on and we have 2 modules which look at the sort of particular areas. So one is about Caribbean spaces, so about the Caribbean is a place where you get English language, French language, Spanish language, Creole, all sorts of different traditions all mixing in. And then we have finally one on called Apocalyptic Visions, which is trying to look at kind of writers and people talking about the end of the world in medieval literature and at various other points. So that one goes back through history.
Oh, sounds very exciting. Now, if I want to study comparative literature and French or German or Italian, for instance, or Spanish, how well do the 2 subjects combine?
I think they're an excellent combination because you get on the one hand, you get a real exposure to a variety of different cultural contexts. Like I said, Caribbean, medieval, and lots more beside that. And you get to think about cosmopolitanism, if I can say it, and otherness. Whereas on the other hand, you get for instance, the French side, where you'll get real deep knowledge of one particular culture, and also the technical hard skill, of course, of speaking French.
Okay, I think you have convinced me, but why should I study at Reading then? What makes Reading special?
We've got a lot of excellent resources in Reading. That we've got a lot of sort of centres that are particularly relevant to comparative literature. So we've got the Samuel Beckett Archive is based in Reading. He was someone who worked between French and English and Italian and German and lots of different contexts. We've got the Centre for the Study of Childhood, so looking at, again, writing in literature for different ages and how it changes for different contexts and audiences. There's a strong medieval element in Reading. So again, there are lots and lots of strengths to the university and to the town.
Okay, sounds like an exciting place to be studying. And finally, if I want to find out any more information, where should I go?
Yeah, you're probably bored of us blathering on, so you probably want to look at this for yourselves. You can go onto the web pages of our Department for Modern Languages and European Studies, and each page has got a little bit on comparative rephrase that. There is a page for the programs with comparative literature, and we'll get it put in the link so that you can follow that easily.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Thanks, and now it's my turn to ask you some questions, so turning it around the other way. So if I'm a student and I'm thinking about doing a language at degree level, do I need to have already done it? Do I need to be an expert and I've got an A-level under my belt already?
No, not at all. So we offer languages from beginners level for French, Spanish and Italian, from intermediate level as well for our 4 languages. So if you've studied a language up to GCSE or AS level, you can still start studying a languages degree and languages and Comp Lit degree with us. And likewise, if you've done an A-level, great, you can join at advanced level. But if you haven't studied a language all the way to A-level, it shouldn't put you off applying, and all of our entry requirements are on our website as well, so you can check that.
Great, okay, excellent. And if I want to find out how many hours of language study I might do a week, how would I, do you have that information?
So how many contact hours? That's a question that comes up quite frequently. So in terms of the language learning, we have dedicated language modules, and that very much depends on your level of proficiency. So obviously we have about 6 hours a week for beginners, because it's quite intensive, and by the 3rd year they have to be ready to go on the year abroad. So there's about 6 hours a week in the first year, and then it goes down a bit for intermediate and advanced, because it's slightly more advanced in the content. So that's for the language modules, and we study skills like translation, presentations, we do communication, obviously speaking, listening, we do writing as well, we do a little bit of grammar too, but this is the kind of things that we do in the language classes. And we also have extracurricular activities such as a cinema and chat club, so we watch a film in the target language, and then we have a chance to discuss the film in the language, but this is not assessed, obviously.
Okay, great. And say I'm interested in one aspect of French culture, if I'm a French history buff, or I'm really interested in popular music, something like that. Yeah. Do I get the chance to study that as well? Yeah,
obviously. So apart from the language modules, there's also modules to do with history, with literature, with cinema. In French, we have a module on French philosophy, French music as well. So we obviously, for all of our languages, we do have a variety of modules. It's not just focused, obviously if you're doing comparative literature, I assume that you would be quite interested in literature, but if you want a break from literature and take one module that focuses more on Latin American history, we have a great module on culture and revolution in Latin America, so it's definitely completely possible. And we also have really exciting comparative modules, which look at not just one country in isolation, but in the context and in comparison with other countries. So we have European history, we have European cinema, and introduction to linguistics, so they're a bit more comparative.
Yeah, and we have mainly talked about French, haven't we? Because me and you are
both
French lecturers, but look, we have other cultural modules and linguistic modules too. So all of the variety we've spoken about with French is also available for Italian, Spanish, and German as well.
Yeah, and you can actually find some examples of modules that we are offering on our website. So if you go on, say, comparative literature and Italian, if you scroll down to what will I study, there's a section on year 1, year 2, year 3, and final year. And there are examples of the kind of modules that we offer if you want more specific ideas.
Okay, great. And one last question. If I do comparative literature with a modern language, do I still do year abroad?
Yes, you do. The 3rd year abroad. The 3rd year is spent abroad, and we have various opportunities. So one of them might be to do an Erasmus placement, to go as a student. Another option is to go as a British Council teaching assistant, and the third option is to go and do a work placement. But we have many destinations, obviously within Europe, but also further afield. Like we have several partnerships with universities in Latin America, with La Réunion for French as well. So if you want to be adventurous, the 3rd year is a good chance to do that.
Great, and if I think I'm getting one question in here, what makes Reading a special place to do modern languages?
I think it's a really friendly environment, and we're really a community of learners where we really know our students individually, and I think we both have personal tutees, so we have each student is allocated a member of staff who looks after them and makes sure that if they have any questions they can come to us. And also because we are a department of modern languages, it's great for students to be meeting students who study not just French, not just German, but also students doing Italian, Spanish, and other languages. So I think it's a very friendly department, and also we have a great deal of variety in our modules and comparative modules, as I mentioned, for instance. So a student can really tailor their program to their interests.
Great. I think I should sign up too. Yeah, we'll all sign up.
Okay, thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions, do check our web pages or do email us. Our email address is languages@reading.ac.uk, but we put all of that in the comments. And thank you for listening.